All right. Finally got this fucker working. Jesus.
We've had a few technical difficulties. But we have JP, Doctor Actor Extraordinaire with us this
Doctor.
week.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you become like how do you go from doctor and get into acting? How does that work?
Having a mother who's very determined for you to be a doctor. Unfortunately, no, I'm just joking.
Kind of though.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of, but kind of not.
Do you think some of it, because I can relate. So I immigrated from Canada, or I immigrated to Canada from Guatemala when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
Does some of it have to do with having ethnic parents? Because my parents would not
I thought you were from
would
Edmonton.
not have. Yeah, my parents would not have been supportive at all.
Yeah,
I thought about doing a theater degree, but
Yeah.
I was too afraid to even say it because I knew that they wouldn't help me with my university if I did that.
I think it is part of being from immigrant families and
Yeah.
stuff, because the push for education is so huge from these other countries of the world. It's how does one be successful, and education plays a huge role in that, and it's just been the expectation forever for them.
That
for their
that's
parents.
security
Yes,
because they've come from another country and they know what it's like to live in chaos. So they just want that security for you, right?
Yeah. And I do have to say it has provided security, but in terms of being an actor, when I was a kid, film has always been something that's a big part of my childhood, just watching movies and stuff. And I guess I told my mom I want to be on TV. And I did ask her, how did this all start essentially? And at that time, which is a long time ago, when I was a kid, there wasn't much, room for minorities in film and whatnot, and there wasn't too many roles. But she happened to be at a dinner with someone who was an actress who had an agent, and then they just got to talking, and then we met this agent, and then started trying to audition for things.
Oh, so you started when you were a kid then,
Yeah,
hey?
but it was kind of short-lived because it was just commercials here and there. We moved a lot, and then it kind of fell off, and then started up again as a teenager. And then that's when I got an agent, because I, again, happened to meet someone who was an actor, and she kind of hooked me up with her agent, and then started, trying to audition for things at that time. And again, even that was about 15 years ago now. And it was very difficult at times to get auditions as well, just because there wasn't that much just people weren't looking for minorities at that time as much. There were some big things that would come along, but it was not like now.
And now it's our time.
And now it's our time. Yes.
Damn it. That's awesome. So you basically did schooling for your parents, and more so than anything else.
Well,
it sounds like.
I would say when I initially went, yes. When I was there, it was for myself. There was that strong push, and so I went right from high school. So that stint of acting as a teenager wasn't too long. And then I went to this pre-medical program in the Caribbean and kind of accelerates things. Looking back, it's a great experience because I got to move away and grow.
Yeah.
And then when I started medical school officially, and then towards the end of that, that's when I gained an interest in psychiatry and addictions. And that's what led me to do psychiatry, essentially.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap actually between psychology, psychiatry, and acting, and just understanding the human experience. I was always drawn to psychology too.
Yeah, for sure. With analyzing characters and even just watching movies and things like that, it makes a huge difference and gives you a different perspective. But I have found that it's hindered me a little bit in some ways. And I think, because I've thought about this too, just with acting classes and things like that, when trying to tap into deeper emotional stuff, when I talk with people at work, and we were kind of chatting about this before, I have to put up a wall sometimes and be very neutral. And if I get emotionally worked up with them, I'm not helping people. And when I try to tap into anger or sadness and things like that, when I'm acting, I find
sometimes you're blocked a little bit. Oh my God, I have found that too.
Oh really? Okay,
Yeah.
good. It's not just me.
No, I found that too. Especially, I think it's getting a little better now that I'm not having to do that as much in my work. But yeah, I definitely found that sometimes I would be emotionally blocked. It's right there, and I know, but I just can't get into it because I've trained myself to block that out. It's funny.
No, I hear you.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird, but I'm glad I'm not the only
well,
one.
I thought I didn't know if it had something to do with me, but I've never really connected it to having to be clinical, having that clinical distance that you have at work. But that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
You're big into like mental health too. Like I follow you on social media.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
And you're
Yeah,
always
I follow
posting
you too.
stuff. You're always posting stuff about like, do better, or, talking about cell phone use and all that. And the Joker. I wanted to talk to you about the Joker.
Yeah,
and your
that's
take on the
cool.
Joker. 'Cause
Sure.
coming from a guy like you,
Yep.
what drive? First of all, let's start here. I want to know the stem of it all. What drives you in wanting to know more about mental health, and what gets you going on that side of things?
So that's a great question, and it's something that I ask myself all the time too, because it's always ever changing. And I think with mental health, it's something that gets brushed under the rug a lot. And when we say mental health, a lot of people equate that to mental illness, which is not necessarily true, right? And I know you're big into fitness because I follow you as well. It's like going to the gym. You just don't go to the gym to look a certain way, to have like six pack and super shredded or whatever. But it's also you're just maintaining your health for longevity and for your body to function well. And with mental health, people don't exercise their mind the same way or take care of that the same way. So I think it's just spreading awareness of that. It's important to me, and I always try to post things that speak to me in the moment, and hopefully they kind of connect with someone. So that's kind of what it was really about starting that.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Do you feel like you're kind of almost like put on, like, do you believe in God and stuff?
So I'm not the most religious person, and I used to be afraid of saying that but I think nowadays it's a little more acceptable to say I believe in the universe, universe more so than a specific deity.
Well,
I'm on the same page.
Okay.
Did you used to be religious ever?
No, it was not a religious household growing up.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of like what it is, do you find that you are almost like meant to help people out in that kind of side of
That's
things?
an interesting question.
Like the universe is almost like you're here to do a job and a task, and maybe it's spread mental
looking
health.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought of it that way, but I was just saying if I were to do everything all over again, I wouldn't change where I ended up and what I'm doing. So I guess yes, that I feel like, and then even with the acting thing, having that platform to spread that awareness or even just brighten someone's day, that's kind of the goal.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah,
that's
you.
cool. So are you full time being like a doctor and then going auditions and stuff? Is that what's going on?
So I'm not full time. I do work a few days a week, and it's a steady clinic, and I do addictions treatment. So mostly people with heroin, and there's not much heroin these days. It's fentanyl, which is just like a souped up,
which is even
opioid.
worse. Right?
Yeah, it's worse. And then carfentanyl's out here too. So
Yeah.
What's carfentanil?
So it is
Super fentanyl.
It's super fentanyl. Essentially, people just keep pushing the envelope in terms of making an opioid stronger and stronger. So it's kind of everyone responds to things differently, but fentanyl's very bad, easy to overdose. Like even touching it, someone can overdose.
For real?
Yeah, carfentanyl's worse. Like police officers have to go through like a cleanse because when they're out there checking things and they touch it and they get on the
Get
clothes.
OD.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
very
crazy.
very dangerous. So
That's strong.
Yeah.
So people that are obviously doing this are, they're dying.
They're dying, yes. So the overdose rates are quite high. People who have a tolerance to it, so if they use opioids frequently,
Right.
they're not going to be as prone to overdosing as someone who's never used it before. So it's that kind of thing.
Your tolerance kind of, I guess, just builds up over
Yes,
time,
yeah.
right?
It's kind of like alcohol. If you were to keep drinking steadily over time, you'll need more and more to get drunk, essentially.
What do you think of drinking alcohol?
So I get asked that all the time. There's a lot of cultural, societal factors that come into play with that. It's like marijuana now is legal in Vancouver. Like the weed culture is pretty big, right? Colorado's going to be big. In terms of alcohol, there were studies done before about it being good, like heart healthy, like a couple drinks a day and stuff. But now at this point, there's no overall benefit of drinking. So there are some guidelines that exist for how much one should drink, but ultimately I can't say that there's a safe amount because it is essentially like a poison. but poison that makes people feel good too.
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
I think what was good for you with alcohol too was the component in red wine, not actually alcohol itself. What's it called? Reverse. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
we'll chat about that after because
Yeah.
I totally remember, but I'm just going to I just don't want to mislead people here or get off topic too much.
Yeah. I think alcohol has a negative effect on your mental health, though. I always feel depressed after drinking.
But in the moment, though.
In the moment, yeah, but it is a depressant. I'll even find that even if I'm not drinking heavily, if I'll have one drink a day for a few days, I feel like shit at the end of it.
Yeah, because your body's respond, and everyone's different, right? Because they're like,
I think I'm really sensitive to alcohol.
oh yeah, people definitely are, and it's different for everyone. That's the other thing. It's hard to say because, and especially within like families or friends and stuff, or college, for example, there's guys and girls who can drink all night, party on the weekend. They do fine at school, right?
That's also an age thing.
Yes,
when I was in my
true.
early 20s, I could
right.
do that too. I'd work out the next day and study.
Wake up early.
Yeah.
No hangovers or anything like that.
So what do you do? And do you have a daily practice? You know, we were talking about working out, maintaining your mental health. What do you do?
So I was actually listening to your guys' last podcast, which was very cool. I liked it.
Who's that? Yeah.
Andrew? Was
yes,
it Andrew?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, Andrew. Yeah.
And you guys were talking about journaling. So I do a bit of journaling myself.
Man, nice.
Yeah,
just
I
got
read
into
that.
that. Yeah.
Meditating. It's very helpful. I like to work out.
I'm gonna cut you off
Yeah,
on a couple
please do.
things here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
in terms
for
of
sure.
meditating, I'm gonna tell you something, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all about meditating and just like going there and stuff, but I always pass out.
Yeah.
I'll put on this meditation app and I'll do it, and I'm fucking snoozing for
I've
20
done that
minutes.
too,
It's every day I do that though.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing because you're kind of shutting off the prior two stages of it as well. So it's not terrible, and a nap's never bad for anyone.
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes.
Yeah,
like it's a quick power nap, really.
And I think that's totally fine. And at least you're doing. How do you feel after that?
Oh, amazing! I feel rejuvenated. Like, woof, I meditated.
So it's not a bad thing. And this is something where people like who are super into meditation have mastered, where they can do it without falling asleep.
Right.
So it may just take practice, but I think the important thing is just doing it and then feeling good after.
Yeah.
And I think there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So as long as you're doing it, you feel good, it's okay. I would say it's not a bad thing.
Right. That's such an interesting saying, eh? Skin
I was
cat.
thinking that too.
I should write that. I've never skinned a cat.
Who came up with that? Where
Who
did
used
that
to skin a
originate?
cat? Yeah. What's skinning a cat look like? What happens there?
Like a psychopath child.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
They just make it look like they look like those naked cats.
Yeah.
Skin a cat. Okay, so your daily routine. You get up in the morning. What's going on?
So I get up in the morning and I feel like I should be like super regimented. So I'm just gonna keep it 100.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get up in the morning. I will help my wife with the baby essentially right away. Then I will get ready and I'll play with the baby and then take the dogs on a walk, which, going back to the meditation, even something that's like a repetitive motion or just moving around, walking around, that is meditative in itself. So take the dog for a walk, come back, maybe do some exercise, or I'll go to jiu-jitsu.
You do jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
I'm not very good at it right now. I will say right now, but I do it. And I've been doing it on and off for a few years. Or I'll do, and I noticed that you do this too, kickboxing.
Yeah.
So I'll try to do that as well. The last few weeks has been very rocky for me, so my schedule's been very off.
Right.
And then I'll go to work essentially, work a few hours, and do notes, paperwork, and stuff like that, and then come home and spend time with the family. And then in between all of that stuff, if there's an audition, then I'll go to auditions as well. Living in Surrey or Abbotsford prior to that, it would take like 3 hours of time essentially, just getting here, going back. So that would take like a huge chunk out of the.
So do you ever
day.
regret auditions? Like, do you ever just not do it?
I try not to. There have been a couple where like if the clinic's really busy I can't leave, I'm like, sorry. And that's only happened like once or twice. The good thing is my dad works with me as well, so he covers for me a lot.
That's sick,
and
man.
it's worked out really well. So I'm very thankful for him. For the work I do, I can do a lot by phone at times as well.
Great.
which is good. So I try not to, because everyone knows a unicorn dies every time you regret an audition. So
Seriously, man. Yeah. I've never missed one yet. So.
Oh, hey,
Nice.
knock on wood.
Strong, yeah. Knock on wood, yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so it sounds like you just kind of, you're doing kind of the regular thing. You're working out in the mornings. You're kind of just getting that thing going. Are you eating? Are you a plant-based diet? Are you a meat eater? What's going on?
So
there?
I am a pescatarian.
Okay.
And
why? Why?
So that's a good question. I get asked that all the time. After I got my dog, I just saw that interacting with him and seeing how he interacted with the world as well. And I always avoided PETA videos and stuff. And there was just one night where I just did it. I don't know why. I watched If Butcher Houses Had Glass Walls. I think that's what it's called.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty intense.
I was
like,
vegan
oh
for
boy.
3 months after watching.
How was that? How'd you feel after that?
I didn't do it properly.
Oh,
I
I
didn't feel
see.
very good. Yeah.
So I just started cutting out beef, pork, and chicken, and I do the fish for the protein. And then Aquaman also eats fish, so I was like, and if he stops, then I'll stop. And then,
Does he for real?
yeah, well, I assume, because in the movie he said that he brings a bunch of fish for the villagers,
Oh,
so
okay.
he's okay with it.
Right.
And he lives with them and can talk with them. So.
Right.
What would Aquaman
Yeah,
do?
exactly. Or Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Jesus, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, that's hilarious.
But yeah, so I do that, and I've maintained my weight very well. Eating is something in terms of mental health, and I'm just being very candid now, and I don't say this stuff often, but eating and food and my mental health is something that I found challenging since I was a kid. And I've maintained my weight better than I ever have in my life, because I would always go up or down, lower, higher. Like there was a point in my life where I was like 220 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, but then prior to that, I was just training all the time so I could eat whatever I want, and I was looking like Zach here, but not as good.
Thanks, buddy.
So just stuff like that. In terms of the pescatarian diet, it's helped me personally. I think it's different for everyone. Veganism is if you can do it, great, and you feel good on it and your body's doing well, great. But I worry sometimes, would I lose out on certain nutrients? I mean, you could take multivitamins and stuff too.
Have you seen the Game Changer documentary
Not
on
yet,
Netflix?
not yet.
I checked it out, man. It was definitely really powerful
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
I was watching and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
should I not eat meat
Yeah.
anymore? I don't know.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Maybe I'll become a
But I'm
vegan.
telling you, I've been doing the not eating meat thing for the last 3 days. I gave it 3 days, and I definitely feel different, and not in a good way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I feel not as strong almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel as awake. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel clean though. Like I don't feel like there's something sitting in my stomach for so long anymore. I feel like I just eat something and I just like it just
Like
quick.
your digestion is
Yeah,
better.
it's just it's just nice and easy. But when I have meat, I feel a little bit more heavy, but I also feel more strong-headed.
Yeah.
I feel more motivated, I guess, when I eat meat.
Sure.
If I had to like link it to anything.
I understand. When I was vegan, I was vegetarian for a year. I initially felt really good in that clean feeling.
Yeah.
Like there was something, I don't know how else to describe it, but
Yeah.
a clean feeling. That's a good way. But then my nails started to kind of like crack and my hair wasn't growing as fast. So I just didn't do it properly.
Sure.
But I think you don't have to go one way or the other. You can just try and cut, like eat it at one meal a day, versus.
I think the best thing to do is like go on a plant-based diet, like a couple times a week, and then enjoy a nice steak or something on the third day. Like, because that way you're still getting all the nutrients in your body. You're still getting the best of both worlds, I think, personally. Because I think what they're saying is you don't need to be eating a steak every day. I think that's what the verdict of what this all is. That also being said, though, I know I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of people that are just on a fucking meat diet.
Yeah,
I've
right.
heard
A
of that.
carnivore diet and seeing great results.
Yeah.
Do you know Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, he's on it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
he's a doctor in Toronto. He's like super famous.
He's a clinical psychologist
Oh, really?
in Toronto.
I'll have to look him up. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like what you said is, and especially at this stage of my life, what I find is balance is the key. It's all about balance, right? If you're too far on one end of the spectrum, things might not go well, like the nails and the hair and things like that. Or you're too far on the other end of the spectrum, maybe your cholesterol goes up, you're not helping the environment any, and so on and so forth. So I think balance is key for everything. And it's different for everyone. That's the most important thing to remember.
Man,
Yeah.
some people are allergic to peanut butter and some people aren't.
That's right. Exactly.
Honestly, I always tell people, we're like, what do you mean? Just try it. I'm like, dude, some people can die if they touch peanut butter, and some people can just eat it all day.
Okay, I'll try it this one time.
I think it is good to find something when you were talking about eating and mental health. I think it is good to find something that works for you, because I think that couldn't take a strain on your mental health. I found intermittent fasting has been good for me, and I don't have to think about it as much. So it's nice to not have to think about it. So I just find something that works for me and I just go with that.
Yeah,
The best, man. Do you intermittent fast?
I do. Yeah, that was the other thing I forgot
Yeah.
to say is fasting has changed things for me as well. Energy wise, I don't know necessarily it hasn't always like changed much for me in that realm, but maintaining and not feeling, I guess, maybe energy wise too. It's helpful. And I don't know if that's just eating less necessarily or also all the, what they talk about ketosis and all that
Totally,
stuff.
man. Well, you have that cup of coffee in the morning, right? And it kind of kicks you right in there.
Yeah.
And you're almost like on this I feel like I'm high for like 5 hours.
I feel like that too, especially if you work out in a fasting state too.
Yeah.
It's a different workout.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
You're like fasting, you're working out, you're doing emails, you're doing all these things. Like it's nice. It's kind of a nice time to get it going.
You don't have to take time to make breakfast or go get it.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
just working through it.
And then when I find when I eat, I eat slowly and more consciously and really enjoy my meal. Like I'm going to go eat something after this podcast to break my fast for today. And I know I'm really going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You don't mindlessly eat as much when
Yes.
you're doing intermittent.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
We should go to Caveman.
Yeah.
Dude,
Let's
have
do
you
it.
been to Caveman before?
I haven't.
There's this place by my house right over here. It's all natural, free range. Am I saying this right? Free range stuff. Like it's all
Yeah,
organic.
like no
cool,
no antibiotics and
I love how I don't know anything what I'm talking about.
No, you
But
do.
they promote
you're
it really
doing
well.
you're doing a good job, Zach.
They promote it really good, and it's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
And when I
yeah.
say I have like steak every couple days,
Yeah.
I go there and I get this massive
Nice, yeah.
platter feast or whatever, and it's fucking great.
That's good. And I think you make a good point. It's the quality of ingredients, right? I haven't seen the Game Changer, but I imagine do they touch on some of the stuff of like processing and
They do, but they
chemicals
also
and all?
touch on just even like clean meat.
Yeah.
It does affect. You got to check it out.
Okay,
Just you gotta
I'll
watch
watch it. I'll watch
it affects
it.
your boner.
Oh,
Yeah, sex
that's not
drive,
good.
which is kind of weird because you think that eating, because they talk about it too in the documentary, how eating meat makes, they brand it as feeling manly.
Yeah,
and
right,
you're this
right,
man,
right.
you eat steak.
Yeah.
And it's actually the complete opposite in
Yeah.
terms of like having a boner and
Right.
keeping that up.
Sure.
And then just other things too. There was their pee, like some of the pee was more, I don't know, I'm kind of butchering it, but you should definitely check it out.
Okay.
man.
I listened to this, or I watched this. There's a book and
It's
there's
very
also a
one-sided though,
documentary.
sorry. No.
It's called The Omnivore's Dilemma. And the dilemma is, how do you find that middle ground between doing what's best for the environment and for animals and for your health? So he had 3 simple principles. Don't eat too much, mostly plants, and eat real food.
Yeah. Pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
So simple.
Yeah, I know.
Really.
But the simplest things are sometimes the hardest to do.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot, but it's so true.
Same with acting, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like overthinking things.
Just be
or-
yourself. Just don't act.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say with the pescatarian diet, my boner's been exactly the same as it always been. But it hasn't varied. I wish it did, like some ways. But no, we're still at the same boner levels as it's always
That's
been.
unfortunate.
That's hilarious.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not terrible, but I mean, it could be better, right?
So on our elevator ride up, we were talking about balancing family life and being an actor. You said that your wife is really supportive. She's a makeup artist, you
Yes.
said?
Yeah, she's a makeup artist, but she's great. So when I finish all my training about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. So it hasn't been that long. And the acting thing has always been on my mind through like residency and medical school, but it wouldn't have worked because what I'm seeing now is the amount of time it takes to dedicate to the craft and to auditioning and to being present and available. I don't think there's any way I could have done that. I don't know, like Ken Jeong. Do you guys know Ken Jeong?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy from
Yeah.
Hangover?
Yeah.
He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's a doctor?
He's a doctor, yeah.
What?
He's an internal medicine doc, and he
Yeah.
was doing stand-up in residency. I'm just like,
I
how
know.
did you do that?
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I think he practiced for like a few months. and
Yeah,
then
really?
became
And that was it? He hit big.
His wife is a doctor too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And she had like cancer and stuff. So, and from what I've gathered from him is his wife was very supportive, and I guess he just took that leap of faith and went for it. for me, you know, I've been with my wife for a long time, and she's always known that, and she knew me when I was trying to do it before as well. So it's always been on my mind, like I said. So when I came back, I took some time off, and I didn't do the acting thing, but I journaled it and said I was gonna, you know, eventually do it, and were my goals, and get back in shape a bit and stuff, and then go for it after headshots and see what happens. And I've found a great agent, shout out Claire, who's helped me a lot.
At Trisco?
Yes, yeah. Trisco is
I
great.
know a few people with her.
And it was just a gut feeling to submit to them, and I met her, and that was pretty much it. And then my wife was okay with it. If she wasn't okay with it, it wouldn't work, because if I'm going all the time,
you need that support, or it's just not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And my parents too. I mean, my family and my siblings and stuff, everyone's very supportive of me trying, at least. I just don't want to be 60, 70, 80 years old saying like, what if? Or
I totally relate to you. Yeah, 100%. I was living in Edmonton. I didn't even really know that this existed in Vancouver. I would have come sooner if I would have known. I thought you had to go to LA. Right. I didn't. I thought it was so far off.
They made it sound like, I remember being in acting class in Edmonton. They made it sound like it was just, oh, Vancouver, you're not ready.
Yeah.
Like you're not ready.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even know that I'm saying that the industry really existed here.
Jeez.
Like I didn't even think that you could book really. I didn't know that this existed out here.
That's so wild.
So I saw it as this far off thing, but since I can remember, I wanted to be an actress.
Yeah.
And it just kept it was just always in the back of my head of that would have been nice. That would have been nice. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to live that way.
No, you just got to go for it. And people will tell you things like you're not ready, but like ready for what? Ready in your sense. I mean, I'm ready, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
I get what you were just saying about relationships, weirdly. Like when I'm in a relationship for too long and I'm not really maybe too thrilled about my partner, I don't know, it's just not really working. Hey guys, quick little advertisement here. Project Transformation X, which is a personal training and an online personal training business I started a few years back. I love fitness. I've been doing fitness for the last 10 years. It's something that is a passion that I dearly have with acting as well. And I am taking on a few online clients. So what you'll be receiving is you will be receiving a fitness program that is tailored to you. It comes with video and detailed explanation on how to do each exercise. You will also be receiving a nutrition program for me that comes with foods you should be eating and how you should be feeling throughout the day so we can get you to your goal the best way possible. You will also be receiving weekly communication from me as your online trainer via Skype or Google Hangouts, and I do ask for a 2-month commitment. Back to the show. You know what I guess? I kind of get a little bit what you're feeling, like a little bit FOMO. I'm missing out on something. I feel that I'm missing out on other things happening in this world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And like, do things get stagnant for you? Like you just
It's happened the last two ex-girlfriends I've had for sure. And I'm wondering what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's different for everyone. And there's always that FOMO, the grass is greener on the other side kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's normal for everyone. And I think if you really, and it may be right. It might be a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
You actually might be missing out on things. But I think the trick with things like that, whether it's a partner or like work or your career or your family, is to sit down and, you know, put the pros and cons of what's going on and see. So if the relationship is holding you back from where you want to be and you're missing out on these things that you're trying to do and it's not working, but you're happy in the relationship and that outweighs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to outweigh it for sure.
Yeah, it's always then just kind of a medicine thing, the risks and benefits of things, right?
Yeah.
And if you have to be completely honest about that too, because there are people in unfortunate situations where they're getting really screwed over by their partner in some ways.
Yeah, that's
with
crazy.
Like abuse, like emotionally, verbal, physical, all kinds of things, and they'll trick themselves to think it's okay. And it gets kind of in a weird space sometimes for people. So it's just a matter of being, if it's not at that's an extreme level, but just being honest about the situation.
Yeah. I don't feel as motivated too when I'm in a relationship. Or sorry, I don't feel as motivated when I'm single than I do when I'm in a relationship. Like it just in general, like really ambitious. I'm normally just a really ambitious person, I feel like. And when I'm single, I feel like some of that ambition is going to like just, chasing women, I guess. I don't know.
And like, do you think you like everything in your life is better in terms of like motivation, like working towards things?
When I'm in a relationship?
No, outside of a relationship.
No, I would say it's not. I would say everything's at like 75%.
I'm honestly the same way. Even so, I wasn't in a perfect relationship a year ago, but I was a lot more, maybe because that was taken, because I wasn't putting mental energy towards like finding somebody. I was just focused in what I was doing. And since I've been single, I don't know, maybe having somebody at the end of the day to say like all of the shit that you did, you know, and like reporting all of the things that you did is sort of motivating. Sure. And right now I'm just like, I'll put it on my story. Nobody cares. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying both sides. Yeah. Like there's perks to both sides. Right. I'm so free. Like I feel like I'm absolutely so free. I can do whatever I want, which is great. I'm not used to that kind of feeling. That also being said, I'm not really a guy that goes out and gets like hammered every weekend. And I feel like there's a certain kind of lifestyle that maybe it would suit you more if you were single.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas me, I'm kind of just, wanting to get it done. Just have a couple dreams and ambitions that I want to conquer. And that's kind of all I want to do with my life. Right. It's just nice
I want somebody to go for a hike with or go for a walk with, like do healthy things, not just like go out and drink. Right. Because when I'm single, I'm less healthy.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing because you're always doing things. You get comfortable. You're like, let's just stay home or let's go out or so on and so forth. And it's kind of hard for me, and I definitely take it for granted a lot of the time because I didn't plan to meet the love of my life in high school and then have.
You met her in high school?
I did. Yeah,
we have parallel experiences.
Yeah.
So it worked out, and you hear things don't always work out, and I've been very lucky, and I do take that for granted sometimes. But it's just worked. It's been very easy, and I shouldn't say that. Of course, I'm not painting a perfect picture. Relationships take work too. I think that's a huge thing as well. And there has to be compromise as well. But you have to ask yourself, this is just my personal opinion. This is not like, doctor feel or anything, but because I'm not a relationship expert, but I think compromise is very important. Mutual respect and understanding of each other is very important. And if those things don't mesh, I think that's where a lot of the problems start to occur and things fall apart slowly but surely. You'll start distancing yourself from each other. And then sometimes people will just sabotage things because even subconsciously they're unhappy with something. They don't talk about it and they just do something maybe they shouldn't, or or they just say, what, this isn't working, and then they kind of
snap, right? Yeah. I think being just open and being super vocal, that was a big thing for me in my last relationship, and I think that's why it lasted so long, maybe because we were just both super vocal about situations and just super open about things, right? But I can see just communication in general, man, for a lot of people. Like even if you like feel something off, like I have roommates, and if there's something going on, I'm like, what's up, bitch? Yeah. What's going on? What's on your mind? You got a problem with me? Or are we okay? You know what I mean? Like just having like this conversation, right? Yeah. And I feel like it makes a big difference in the long run.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, totally. So what's your secret to a successful long partnership?
Become a doctor.
Mine didn't quite work out. Mine was with a doctor.
You were the doctor before too. Yeah. Damn, you guys are fucking successful. Like you guys are surrounded by success.
I'm not successful. I'm surrounded by success. I have 2 degrees, sir.
This is sorry.
Success is it's very subjective though, right? I mean,
exactly.
Successful relationships are subjective too. People are comfortable with different things, right? So it's really hard to say what makes a success. You're very successful. In my book, you're successful.
Thanks, JP.
It's too late for that. No, but I think so. Like, with like communication is huge. I think that's key because if you're not voice, and this is something at this stage of my life, I'm always trying to actively work on now is to say what's on your mind because things fester and build up, and sometimes it'll be too late to even make a point or say anything. But if you do just put it out and air it out, people just generally don't like confrontation in general, right? It's just, there are some people who aim for that, but I think that if you air out whatever you have to in a healthy way too, not screaming at each other, swearing at each other, because that's not going to get anything done.
Yeah, that's
but
ridiculous.
when you're calmer and if you can walk away for a bit and come back to it in a good timely fashion, I think things would be better. I think compatibility and being on the same page is the most important thing. I think the the saying of opposites attract might be true initially, but in the long run, it might not work out. It may, but chances of being on the same page, I think, are more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to be aligned in your values.
Yeah, that's huge too.
Hey man, so you commented on that light thing I have.
Yes. Yeah.
The happy light?
Happy light. Does that shit work or what?
So it's real. It's a real thing, specifically more so for seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah,
which
I'm suffering from.
Yeah,
that.
you feeling it?
Yeah, I'm a sad man.
Very, very dreary.
Dreary.
It's very dreary. Still didn't say it right in Vancouver. So it's a real thing. In other parts of the world, it's not as bad. The whole simple idea behind it is that with the sunlight and it affects the chemical composition of the 100%. Brain. Mm-hmm. With the light, it's a substitute for the sun, essentially.
So if I sit in front of that thing for like an hour, am I
going to
get tanned? That's a joke. That was a joke. I'm sorry. It's a bad joke.
Maybe? No, it's funny.
It's funny, he says with a straight face.
No, it was funny.
Zach, that was a really funny joke.
It's like, everyone types LOL and they're like, they're not laughing, but internally they're, totally. No, that was funny. Yeah. I don't think you'll get tan, but it does.
God damn it.
There is evidence that it does help with specifically seasonal affective disorder. Right. And it basically, the simple way of putting it boosts those chemicals in the brain that are missing.
So an hour? Is that good enough?
I would look at the time. I don't prescribe it a lot because I'm not doing general psych that much right now, but I would look at what it also, it's not just the time frame as well. It's the power of the light that matters as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's, I'm not going to say it's 18,000 or something like that, lux or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's what I bought.
That's what. Okay, yeah. So that you're on the right track.
I'm on the right track. Okay, cool.
Time wise, I will look it up for you and let you know.
Dude, sometimes I'll sit I'll do paperwork and emails and all that stuff, and I'll have the light just blasting my face. Yeah. And I remember it was Saturday morning. I woke up at 5 a.m. and then I took my dog out. It was 6:30, and I was like, I'm just gonna work out after my clients, personal training clients. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna work out after my clients. And then I remember sitting in front of that light and going, why don't I just work out right now? Yeah. And I was like, is it because of that light? I don't know. It
over
might have
time,
been, right?
Maybe over time for sure. And I listened to your last podcast. You guys were talking about exercising and then not doing it and feeling down on yourself.
I get real down, dude.
So things like they call it activation therapy. It's just really doing stuff. Yeah. So getting up, going out, even when you don't feel like it, it just breaks that cycle that we can all fall.
It's like that stagnancy feeling. Yes, I'll even find that if I work out beforehand, I'm better in acting class.
Oh yeah.
I just have my energy flowing more, I don't know. I've been reading more about chi lately and getting that. I feel like my chi is low, and then I can feed it through working out, and then I have more for acting. Do you find that?
Well, I feel like when I work out, in general, just if I really just kick my ass at the gym, my entire day I'm very I don't really situations don't bother me. I don't get stressed. I'm not really mad or little things don't kind of what I mean. I just feel
maybe you feel I don't know. I feel more capable when I'm working out. Mm-hmm. So if a situation does that resonate at all with you?
I just feel calm. I guess I just feel calm.
I'm I can handle it. Is kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
When I work out, because maybe I feel more in control or something. I don't know.
If I don't work out and let's just say I go to the mall, there'll be certain things that'll piss me off in the mall. Maybe someone will be yelling in the middle of the store. And I'm what an idiot. Mm-hmm. I'll just kind of I'll think negative thoughts. But if I work out, I'm just life's great. Yeah. I just feel so zen. I just feel I'm just calm and nothing could really affect me that bad. Yeah. So in acting class, it's nice because everything is put aside. There's no extra stress. The adrenaline is running, but it's not running on full cylinders, or maybe it's running on more cylinders. I don't really know the answer to that, but I just feel more in it, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I think it really recalibrates your thinking and how you view things. And it's not just like we said, looking good and things like that. It's all these really great things. Right. I think the exercise culture has grown over time, which is good. There's a lot of promotion for health and things like that now, and there's a realization that if you don't do these things, it's really bad for you. So It's good. It's good. And I feel the exact same way. If and you guys were mentioning this last time, I've never gone even when I don't feel like going and said, "Oh, I wish I didn't come."
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. You're the best guest ever. You did your homework before. This is awesome.
What did we say? What was it? That was a good quote. Let me write that one down.
It's true. Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah. So I'm curious, coming from, your life as a psychiatrist and then re-entering the acting world, are there any sort of mental health issues that you think are prevalent within the acting community?
I think people that I find, and I've gotten messages here and there about, I'm not feeling so good. And I think a lot of it hinges upon booking jobs. That's the thing I hear over and over. I'm not booking anything. I get very anxious, and it's this vicious cycle of getting down on yourself. I've had that experience as well, where you go for, audition. You're not booking anything. It's like, is it me? Is it the way I look? Is it my acting ability? It's like a million things run through your mind.
Yeah.
But I think realizing, one, that everyone is going through that in this industry, and it's normal. So just normalizing that. And then two, from what I've learned from going to workshops and things like that, and talking with people, there's so much out of our control as actors of booking the job or not. We can do a bang up job with the role and the character and, the presentation of everything. But there are other factors like your hair color and things, and maybe the way you look, or even that don't fit with the scene or the film or the character or the vision, even the vision of the writers or the producers or the directors. So there's so many people involved, we'll never ever know exactly what the issue is. You may remind them of an ex or something, or someone that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fuck this guy, get him out of here. And you did you were the best actor that day. Mm-hmm. It could very well happen. And that's the subjectivity of art, I think, in general, but the extra layer that's added for something like acting, that humanistic kind of approach to all of it. And coming from being a doctor to acting, when I started, I was trying to apply the same things that just for medical school. You go get some training and you put in the work, you do some free time, and then you'll eventually start booking jobs. And
what's the formula? What's the syllabus to become an actor? I've thought that too.
Yeah. And there are some, guidelines for that, but it's never 100% guaranteed. But, just kind of thinking about the universe and things like that, I do believe if you stick at it and keep working at it, it will eventually come at some point in some shape.
It's a war of attrition.
You have to understand,
kind of what I've said before.
You have to understand there's so many crazy people too. Like, how many crazy people do you meet in the city that are actors?
Definitely.
Like, interesting. I'm an actor. I'm like, okay, like I feel like, you know what I mean? Like I'm almost like I don't feel safe around you. You know what I mean? And so all those actors, there's a lot of these people, because you don't need to do anything to become an actor. You can just go to an audition one time and you're like, I'm an actor, right?
Or you could do it for 1 or 2 years and call yourself an actor for that period. I think a lot of people do that, just like a couple years.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like you are at that point, though.
What I mean is that they do 1 or 2 years and then leave, and the ones where, I mean, I haven't done it. I'm not giving up, so I'm going to do it for years and years. But we're like sticking with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm saying there's a lot of people who like dabble and then drop out.
They dabble and then they drop out for 5 years and they think they're still where they're at before. Yeah,
it's an interesting thing, because what constitutes an actor too, right? Yeah. Someone goes for their first audition for series regular, and they get it. They're an actor. Where the person who's been doing it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Hasn't booked much, but they're still an actor too. It's kind of, I don't know. What do you guys think? It's like kind of like just an artist. I
think it's just a ridiculous thing to even like mention at all. Like, just if you're an actor, you're an actor. Cool. Mm-hmm. Like the next follow up question is, oh, cool, man. What have you done?
Yeah.
Oh, I did a short film 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, okay, cool. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what I personally think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas you talk to Leonardo DiCaprio, oh, you're an actor, cool, what have you done? Like, it's just, oh, here's my resume, and it's more impressive, I guess, at that point,
for sure, yeah.
Because you could say that really about any, like, you could become I don't know, maybe not a doctor, but you could definitely be like I'm just gonna take personal training, because it's kind of like all I know. But you could do, you could definitely take like a 6-month course and become a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And you could take a kinesiology degree and still be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
right?
I see
But
what
it's
you're
like,
saying.
where's the success at? I think it'll show maybe financially. It'll just show more, man. It should show more. And if it's not showing more, then you're not branding yourself properly, maybe.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's just, you're talking about like success, we don't want to label success too much, but like, I guess it is success. Like, we just call it what it is. How successful are you at the craft?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like, are you making money as an actor? Mm-hmm. Because that defines a job, right? Are you making a living doing this? If you are, cool, you're an actor. What else do you do? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the conversation you're kind of having, right?
Yeah.
I say for sure. Yeah, actors definitely. That is the measure of success in the field.
And a lot of people that I do talk to that are actors, and no disrespect, but when I'm talking to them, and I'm like, "Oh, you're an actor, cool, that's awesome," and it's like, "Yeah," and that's all they say. But it's on the side, they run this like amazing dog grooming business that they just didn't want to even mention. That's what you do majority of your time. You should put that first.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
I'll say I'm a nurse first usually.
Yeah, I see
when people, especially with older generations. Yeah. When they ask me what I do, I'm not like I'm a nurse. They're like, oh, good for you. Yeah. If you would say I'm an actor. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, have I seen you in anything? Mm-hmm. No.
But you're still an actor, though. That's the thing. And that's an interesting point you make. I think people really make that part of their identity, that I'm an actor now. And they don't talk about the dog grooming business or whatever it is. And they lose that part of themselves, and they put so much emphasis on the success of being an actor. Yes. They lose themselves in that. Uh-huh. And I was starting to lose myself in it too. It's like, and that's all I was talking about. That's all I was thinking about. And it's not healthy. I think in the mental health realm, kind of circling back to that, that's a very good point, is that it is part of you, but it's not the only part of you.
No. Yeah, you can get sucked into this like vortex where it's all everything. Yeah. And I did initially too, actually. And I think that, I was talking about my separation and living on my own for the first time. I think that it is really important to be balanced, because I definitely made some choices initially that I could have, if I had more balance and not had like been sucked in and the desperation of like making it happen right now, I probably would have made better decisions.
Yeah. You kind of get brainwashed a bit and just not thinking straight. And I think the more that I've just kind of let go and gone with it, you still prepare and do the work and train. And I'm not saying that, but if you want it too badly, then
And that applies to everything in life, dude. Not just even acting.
Exactly.
Like everything in life.
You can't pin your identity on it, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. If you want to, if you want something so bad and that's all you want to do, you want that so bad, and what if that fucking doesn't happen? Mm-hmm. Like, is your life over? No. We got to learn how to adjust to this, right? Yeah, that's a big thing.
100%.
But so what you're telling me is people that just have acting, like that's all they have in their life.
Yeah.
Do you find that their mental health is a little bit more fragile?
It's generalizing it a lot, but I could see it happening. I think that's a better thing to say.
You can see it happening.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening. And it's a tough business. It's a very tough industry. And people are nice in Vancouver. Coming from when I was a teenager now, it's a little bit more life experience and I guess being more involved too. But it's people are nice. The casting directors and offices, they're much more approachable than I remember them being. So it's not terrible, but it can feel cutthroat sometimes. You're sitting in the audition room, you're comparing with someone else, you're looking, and I'm guilty of this, going on IMDb, who did they cast, for the role instead of you, and things like that. And you get really down on yourself. But I think everyone's time will come at some point, because the beauty of film and acting and TV is that there's so much diversity in characters and roles that I think people can fit anywhere now. At some point or time, do you know what I mean? You don't have to be Chris Hemsworth or anything like that. You can be, Joe Blow and still fit into a script somewhere. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I'm kind of going on a tangent a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a place for everyone.
Yes, yeah. And I think if you look at it with that perspective, it's a much nicer place to be. Is that there's a place for everyone, and your time will come at some point. Just keep working on it.
Yeah, the verdict is when you get headshots, just buy yourself a sad lamp as well. It's a depressing fucking game. And it's a long game.
Yeah, long game. That's the thing.
It's a long
the
game.
long
Yeah.
game. For
Yeah.
most people, there are stories of that. Like Blake Lively's, I heard that was her first audition. I
But
don't know
her
if that's
parents were also in the industry.
Oh, really? See-
That's what they don't tell you. That
Yes.
her parents were big time
Yeah,
producers.
they always leave that out though. Eh? I'm always like, oh wow, that guy did that. And it's like, yeah, but his dad was also like James Cameron. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
it's,
know?
I mean, it
Of
is what
course,
it is,
it's a
right?
creative industry,
Yes,
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Dude, if my son or anyone close to my, like, I don't know, I feel like if I ever made it as an actor or whatever, or I was making movies, I'd cast my friends. That's what I like.
Yeah,
Look at Adam Sandler. That's what he does, right?
Exactly. It's the same guys,
Yeah.
and they do a great job.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it will happen. You just got to keep plugging away at it, I think. If you really want it.
And I think the important thing is too, is it's all about, I don't mean to sound like, Gary Vee here, but it really is about more so, like it's a journey, man. If you handed tomorrow to me like a massive acting contract and I was the next thing and whatever, blah, blah, Mission Impossible 9 and I'm Tom Cruise's little brother or something,
Yeah. I could see it. I could see it.
I would be so pumped. I'd be thrilled,
Yeah.
right? But I think the act of working for something and the longevity and the journey of all this is really what it's all about, man.
Yes,
Totally.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. And that's kind of why I'm doing the acting thing too, because looking at my medical career and my parents supported me through the whole way. I didn't have to grind like some people do and like work 3 jobs just to pay for school and stuff like that.
Right.
So it wasn't handed to me by any means, but it was much easier than it could have been for other people. Whereas the acting, that acting part of
100-hour weeks in residency though. Like you worked for it.
Yeah, there were definitely tough times, but it could have been worse, I guess. And so when I do the acting thing, it's that grind, right? It's like for me, it's something for myself, if that makes sense.
I think, I don't know if this relates with you, but I found that with nursing, the idea of, okay, I did my training as a nurse and now I'm a nurse and I just do nursing for the rest of my life. The idea of just coasting was kind of oppressive to me. And what I like about acting is there's always things you can be growing and working towards versus just like, I'm a doctor now or I'm a nurse now.
Yeah.
And I know that you always have professional development, but it's not really the same, right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it's different for everyone because some people that's their passion and they love it, and you might love parts of it, but you don't want it to be just you that one thing. So I think having that growth, even if it's not acting or something else, whether it's the dog grooming business or cat grooming business or whatever it is, cat skinning business, just growing outside of that. That's just the journey, man. That's what it's about.
It's all about the journey.
Yeah.
And I think the more that if you can just sit back and kind of appreciate that instead of looking ahead and trying to get the next thing done. And I get it because I'm the exact same way. Like when I do something and I'm really proud of myself, I don't let it sit too long. I look at it, I go, wow, good job, Zach. Let's go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't sit too long and ponder on it, right? I don't know, man. I think it's it's all, like you said, right? It's all part of the journey. And I think that along the way, as an actor, especially, I don't know about other arts and stuff like that, but just talking about acting, you don't know when your time's going to come. So in my opinion, have other things going on the side, whether you maybe start up a theater company. Ideally, you want to do something that is kind of linked up with acting, but whatever, do something. Just kind of make sure your brain is also going over there. So while you're waiting for the audition, you're not stressing about it. You're not thinking about it. You're not waiting by the phone. You're not checking your emails every 5 minutes. Like that's fucking insane.
For
man.
sure. Yeah, it is insane. And you say that, we have all done it at some point or another. It's true. I'll be honest. I was there, and having that outside, focus will change things. And I was told when I have children, it will make a big difference. And without even thinking about it, it has, because my focus is not just about this stuff. And she's very grounding for me. I have a daughter. She's very, very grounding for me, like in terms of being like anxious or worried about things. Like it's okay. It's not so bad. There's much more to this than just the job.
Do you think it's good for you to have that focus on, things other than yourself?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And whether it's your business or your other crafts or like that other project involved in that realm of things, whatever it is outside of just focusing on
your children, relationships.
Yeah, for sure. Your hobbies, whatever it is. I think it's important to have that. And I've been told that, and it's proven to be true.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I say we wrap this up. Almost at an hour here.
Thank
wow.
you.
That's crazy. It flies by, right?
Yeah.
It flies by.
insane.
Yeah.
This is good, man. I like talking to you, dude. I think the mental health stuff, I think that a lot of people they just kind of overlook this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think diet, I think exercise, obviously, you know this, I preach that stuff. I can't preach that enough,
Yeah.
but like little things that I do miss, like meditating or, you know, just that happy lamp I just got,
Right.
and little tiny things, or even just being an actor and you're constantly worrying about that audition. I think that dealing with mental health issues is definitely something that everyone should look into. And again, a good way that I've talked about this last podcast, a good way that I've kind of been getting this off my system is, you know, just journaling.
Yes.
Just talking about what's going on,
Yeah.
just being open with my journal, down days, up days, just what's going on. Are you happy in life? What's bothering you? Oh, this person did this, you know, whatever it is, just preach about that.
Yes.
I really want to get a therapist, dude.
Yeah, go for it. I think it's important, just like a personal trainer or gym membership.
Yeah, for sure.
People kind of overlook that, but I don't. It's not a bad thing. Just because you see a therapist, and you were saying this before, and even before I did psychiatry, I thought the same things. Like, you know, you're weak-minded, or you're not. You don't have it together.
Exactly
like, what's wrong with you? But it's not true. You hear the highest level athletes having anxiety and performers having stage fright. It affects all of us.
I think it takes bravery to be vulnerable enough to say
yeah.
that you want to seek that out.
Yeah, but I don't even think getting a therapist for having an issue. I think it's important to say what's on your mind and for someone to listen.
Like
Yes.
tune.
And
It's
kinda-
like tuning yourself, like making sure you're in tune.
Yeah, exactly. That's so important.
Yeah.
Like even this podcast, right now, I feel like I'm kind of buzzing a little bit more than I first was when I started, right? And it's because we're obviously talking about open issues and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
For sure.
Great podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Cool, man.
JP.
Yeah, I appreciate you
Thanks.
coming on, dude.
No,
where can
thank
people
you for
follow
having
you?
me. At PataJP, I'm on Instagram. That's mostly the only thing I work. I got banned from Twitter. It's another
What?
I did. Yeah, it was a post.
Whoa,
it was an accident,
crazy.
but I don't know if it's activated again. So I don't really post on there. But Instagram's where it's at PataJP.
Cool. I'll put your link in the description.
Cool, man.
And
Thank you.
thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.